Alright, finally inverses. I'm first going to graph the equation, and what you want to do is you want to make a table of values. It's the easiest way. After you make your table of values, you're going to flip it for the inverse table. Okay, so let's first take negative 2/3 x minus 2. This is easiest if I pick values of 3 because of this 3 on the bottom. That's going to make them whole numbers. So I'm actually just going to pick negative 3, 0, and 3. So if I plug in negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. Negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2, and then you're going to take the opposite of it, so it's actually going to be 2 minus 2, which is negative, or it's 0, excuse me. Then if I plug 0 in, it's going to be nothing, it's going to be negative 2. And then if I plug in 3, if I plug in 3, 3 again is going to be the same, but now it's going to be negative 2 minus 2, so it's going to be a negative 4. So now I'm going to flip those points for my inverse and graph them both. Okay, so I'm going to graph negative 3, 0, 0, negative 2, and 3, negative 4. So it's going to give me that line here. I'm actually going to go ahead and use my line tool. Okay, maybe not. Maybe I'll just, up there it comes. Okay, so there's my one line. Okay, remember reflections are always over the line of y equals x. So that's this line here. So I should have a reflection when I do the next table. Oops. Okay. So here again is my y equals x line. Should have a reflection over that line when I'm done. So let's see, 0, negative 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, and then negative 2, 0. It's going to be here. Look how close they are. And then negative 4, and then 3. Okay, so you can see you're kind of getting this, this reflection over that line. They're very close in terms of their position on the reflection. Okay. Same thing, you want to do the same thing over here, but again, you want to pick values of this fraction of 4. It's probably a good idea to pick values that are multiples of 4, just to make it easier on your graphing. You can also plug this in the calculator. So if I pick negative 4, 0, and 4, negative 4 times 1/4 is negative 1, negative 1 minus 1 is negative 2. 0, 0 minus 1 is negative 1, and then 4 times 1/4 is 1, 1 minus 1 is 0. You're going to want to flip them then for the inverse. So that's going to be negative 2, negative 4, negative 1, 0, and 0, 4. So negative 4, negative 2 is 1, 2, 3, 4. Negative 2 is here. 0, 1. So over 0, down 1. And then 4, 0. Which is here. Then again, you want to graph your line. Should be a reflection of the line y equals x. So now let's graph these. Negative 2, negative 4. And then negative 1, 0. And then 0, 4. And then again, you can see how that is very much a reflection over that line y equals x. Okay, last page. Moving on to finish up inverses. Again, you have the x squared plus 2. You want to make two tables. These really don't matter which numbers you pick. Let's just do negative 1, 0, and 1. So an negative 1 squared is 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. 0 squared is 0. 0 plus 2 is 2. 1 squared is 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. So negative 1, 3. 0, 2. And you can see how it's going to make that u. And then the same thing over here. I'm going to flip them. 3, negative 1. 2, 0. 3, 1. So 3, negative 1. There's that reflection. 2, 0, and 3, 1. And you're going to get that sideways looking graph. Same thing over here. X, Y. Flip them for the inverse. X, Y. Make sure you label inverse. Didn't label that over here. I guess my was in the way. Okay, there we go. This is your inverse here. Okay. So again, I'm just going to pick negative 1, 0, and 1. So when x is negative 1, that's 1 minus 1, which is 0. Negative 1 and 0. So negative 1, 0, 0, negative 1, and 1, 0. So you can see again, you're going to get that parabola. So you're going to flip the points now. 0, negative 1, negative 1, 0, and 0, 1. So 0, negative 1 is here. Negative 1, 0 is here. And then 0, 1 is actually up here. So yes, it is the same points, but now it's going to go this way. And looking at these on a graphing calculator is going to probably be a little easier to see. Okay, verify. Whenever you see the verify, that means g of f of x and f of g of x. So therefore, I want to plug in first and verify f of g of x. So that's when I take f of x and plug this in here. So that's going to be 1/5 x minus 2, and take and put that in. So instead of writing the x, I'm actually going to write 5x plus 10 here, and then minus 2. So 1/5 of 5 is 1, so that's just x. 1/5 of 10 is 2, minus 2. 2 minus 2 is 0, so I'm left with x. Now you're going to do the other way. You're going to take this and put it in here. So 5 times 1/5 x minus 2 plus 10. 1/5 of 5 is 1, so it's just x. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10 plus 10, which is 0, so that leaves me with just x, so I've verified the functions. Same thing over here, so for f of g of x, I'm going to take f of x and I'm going to put this in here. So I'm going to do 3/2 times 2/3 x plus 6 plus 4. Distribute the 3/2 to the 2/3, and that ends up just being 6 over 6, which is 1. 3/2 of 6, 3 times 6 is 18, divided by 2 is 9. And then bring your plus 4. And as you can see, do you get x? No, you get x plus 13. So these are not inverses. Okay. For the last ones, you are finding the equation of the inverse. So therefore, for the first one, you are going to make it y equals 9 minus x. Flip x and y, make it x equals 9 minus y, and now you're going to solve for x. So let me make my screen here a little bit longer so that we can finish doing these equations. Okay, now we have a little more room. And so to solve for y, I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides, so that gives me x minus 9 equals negative y. And since this is a negative y, I really can just divide everything by negative 1, and I'm left with y equals the opposite of x plus 9. So if you don't understand that, this is just x divided by negative 1, which is negative x, and negative 9 divided by negative 1, which is positive 9. Do the same thing here, y equals x minus 3 over 7. So x equals y minus 3 over 7. Multiply both sides by 7. That gives you, that crosses out with this. 7x equals y minus 3. Add 3 to both sides, and now you have your inverse equation of y equals 7x plus 3. Same thing here. And finally, my last equation, again, y equals 2x squared plus 1. Flip x and y, 2y squared plus 1. Subtract 1. X minus 1 equals 2y squared. Divide by 2, which gives you y squared equals x minus 1 over 2. And now I'm going to take the square root. Now we're going to talk about these special functions in our next unit. But this is x minus the square plus or minus the square root of x minus 1 over 2. If you just said square root, that would be fine for now, but just do know that we are getting to a point where you're going to understand more what that means. Alright, please make sure you study, and good luck on your test.